Steve, I want to ask you about the Democrats on this issue, but I want to show you number 8. This is Hakeem Jeffries on The View talking about immigration.
Democrats, amid the criticisms of ICE right now due to these ICE raids, have started calling for defunding ICE. Do you think that's effective going into the midterms, and do you support those calls?
Well, I definitely think that we need aggressive oversight as it relates to the overly aggressive behavior that we've seen, from ICE, from the Department of Homeland Security. It's not what the American people actually, in my view, voted for. Yeah. Donald Trump and Republicans promised to go after violent felons, but instead they're going after law-abiding immigrant families. And in fact, in some cases, deporting American citizens and children, some with cancer.
So, Steve, let me ask you some yes/no questions, and then an essay question. Is immigration still on balance an issue that favors Republicans over the Democrats?
No.
No. It's more advantageous for Democrats.
I have seen a lot of polling recently where the aggressive, provocative, cruel policies that Trump is executing are not being viewed positively.
So you'd be happy if between now and the midterms, immigration was front and center on its current trajectory?
No,
on its current trajectory.
Front and center, but I think we should not. I'm a Democrat who is not afraid of this issue. I think we need to be clearly, under the Biden administration, we screwed up the issue. We need to be very clear that we are against illegals at the border. We need to be very clear that violent criminals can be deported. But what they are doing, that is not what they are doing. They are going after people who they have not proven are violent criminals. They're starting to talk about going after naturalized U.S. citizens just because they don't like their views. I think they are taking this to a level where they are going to turn the issue against the Republicans. This is a country that was built by immigrants, that should have more immigrants, frankly, that we need immigrants who have helped the economy at both the top, the bottom, and the middle. And I think we need to stand up and be supportive of legal immigration and of immigrants who've been here a long time, who are productive members of society, and not get spooked by the Republican rhetoric.
So did you like the way Leader Jeffries framed things?
I thought he made it very clear about children, about naturalized citizens, about people who actually have committed crimes. And I don't mean, drunk driving. That is not the only, Trump talks a lot about murderers and rapists, and that's great. We should get rid of all the murderers and rapists. But the people who Tom Homan is hunting down on the streets at the 7-Eleven or at the Home Depot are not murderers and rapists necessarily.
So, Kristin, if Steve is right, the Stephen Miller school and the Homan school and the Trump school, that you can't be too aggressive about this stuff, and they'll take pictures of going after gangs juxtaposed with Karen Bass every day of the week. If Steve's right, the White House is making a horrible miscalculation.
Yeah, I just respectfully disagree on it. I do think that there is a discussion to be had on, what to do with, particularly with children when it comes to, their parents are illegal, they're dreamers, they're here. That discussion, I think Democrats could get Republicans, particularly in some of these purple districts and states. I feel like you can make Republicans a little uncomfortable on how to talk about it because, that part no one's really focusing on. So I get that part, but overwhelmingly, Americans, particularly in a lot of these swing states, saw, and not necessarily, yes, there's the danger part. They're worried about their communities. They're seeing, crime rise, but also the failure of the Biden administration and of Democrats on this issue for so long. I think that Republicans are definitely going to at least have 2 more years of right side up approval on it. You're going to get I'm sure a left leaning poll every now and then that says that Americans think the administration's going too far, but overwhelmingly, there's Democrats know that they have a problem here, and they don't have a coherent message on it, because you can't just say, okay, if you're an illegal immigrant and stay here, that will only keep the problem going. How do you fix that? How do you get that so that the system is even fair for someone who is coming? And no one is saying that we're not a nation of immigrants. No one is saying that at all. Everyone, no one on this call is saying that, but largely Trump's not saying that. There's a reason why he did better with Hispanics and other minority groups this past election, because people who do come to this country and go through the fair way, it is unfair to them to have other people who broke the law coming here in an unfair way. to take their spot in line, to not, they don't have to pay the same amount of resources for lawyers and take the test and all of that. And so I think there's a path here where we shift to celebrating the legal immigration. I mean, this Monday after the 4th of July, states all around the country, you had people being sworn in as Americans for the first time. And that's the thing that our parties celebrate. I think Democrats celebrate that. And so I think you will see more of that. And that it's not an either or. I don't believe that saying that it is wrong to deport someone for breaking the law and being here illegally, by the use of the word illegal is breaking the law, is something that Americans will, it's kind of common sense. I don't know if Democrats will go down that road. There are plenty of other issues I think they can kind of, make it uncomfortable to focus on and talk through. But overwhelmingly, I think Americans want individuals who have broken the law, whether, violently or not, for that to be rectified and to have the process amended so that it's fair for those who are doing it the right way.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.